Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and yet again talking about the HK P7. I have some videos already about these guns. If you're interested in that sort of thing, look it up in the channel. But before I get started, I want to thank everyone that showed up for this last live stream with Matt Bracken. These are very nice. We love doing them. So thank you really for everyone that shows up. And by the way, guys, subscribe to the channel. Really, if you haven't done so already, subscribing really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. The idea is not to give up in YouTube, even though they do have their own agenda clearly. Just giving up ground is not what we're about. Also, keep in mind though that we do have backup. ODYSEE is already the place where everything is being synced. So everything that goes up in YouTube goes up in ODYSEE as well. Someone was mentioning, someone sent me a message about, hey, you don't have, you should be in ODYSEE. I already am in ODYSEE, but that just goes to show how YouTube still has the most reach, and it really doesn't make sense to give up the most popular terrain in terms of social media and reach. So not going to be doing that, still going to be on YouTube and still gonna be on ODYSEE. I'm also in Rumble, but Rumble really doesn't work all that well, so not as good as ODYSEE. ODYSEE, I liked how well it flows naturally. As always, if you're interested in survival preparedness, you have my books below in the links: the Modern Survival Manual, Street Survival Skills, Bugging Out and Relocating. I think that the three of them combine nicely, especially with everything going on these days. If you're interested in realistic survival and preparedness, yeah, that's pretty much what I try to do here in the channel and with my books as well. So in this case, talking about the price of HK P7s. Guys, these are through the roof. Over the years, people have been complaining about prices just being too high. I'm not going to be buying one. Oh yes, my grail gun, but it's just too damn expensive. Well, if you haven't bought one already, it's just going to be getting more and more expensive each passing year. Check this out. P7M13. This gun is already going at $2,800 bucks, $2,800. That's a lot of money, and this is still going. The bid is still, this is 8 hours away. You know, time left 8 hours, so it may well be reaching those 3,000 bucks that it has the buy now price. So these are quite expensive. I fortunately have one of these, so we're going to be looking at these closer up. I also have one of these, ironically enough. This is the HK P7M13. Folks, 8,000 bucks, right? Someone paid. This already ended. This is already sold, as you see there. 43 bids, $7,995 for this P7 M13. Yes, of course, pristine, new in box condition, with all the documentation, the papers, you know, the box, matching numbers, all that good stuff, original target. But man, the price is just crazy. This goes beyond the actual firearm, and because it just becomes a collector's piece. These are not made anymore. HK is very unlikely. I'm just saying unlikely because given the price, they probably should be making a run of these again. Now, a new run is not going to be changing how much these things are worth in the collector's market. If you pay 8,000 bucks for a pistol, it's not really because it's anything particularly unusual in terms of a huge step in performance, which it has. You know, a lot of people are confused thinking that these are just silly, pricey guns. This went back in the day when HK first came up with these were already the most expensive service pistols in the planet. Original price, retail price was $599. That was the most expensive service pistol in this planet, and HK had to address this by doing an advertising directly explaining why the P7 is the most expensive handgun in the world. So it's a bunch of things that we may now take for granted, at least some of them. Some of these are still innovations that are still showing up in some of the most advanced pistols. I think what it was, like the Mars or Alien or some you know, name like that is using the retardation gas system. Awful name, but the way it works. Back in the day, I'm pretty sure this was the first gun that came with the 3-dot target system, the grip angle, how low that bore axis is, the cocking lever, the beautiful trigger that it has. Just an impressive gun to shoot. Aesthetic, some people like it, some people hate it. I would be more on the, I wouldn't say hate it, but it's not something that I particularly find enjoyable. Anyway, since I have these two, let's just take a look at these firsthand and see how they look and some of the advantages that they have. So these would be the guns that we're just seeing over there, the HK P7M8 and the P7M13. In this case, I'm no longer using it really because it is really in pretty minty condition, to say the least. Even the cocking lever has no wear, which you usually start seeing later on. The slide is in perfect condition, so all around is in wonderful shape. And you know, especially with the manual, the original target, you know, the tools and the matching number there in the box, serial number matching with the gun and all that stuff. It really makes no sense to put wear on a gun that it's in this condition, especially not when you have another one, which for me is a user. So this one is the one I'm keeping mostly as a collector piece, or pretty much entirely as a collector's piece. I mean, if I ever need a gun and the only thing I have left is my P7M13, I'll not feel poorly armed in the least. But honestly, this is the one that I actually use, and you know, that's part of having guns as well. You know, enjoy using them. And this one, yes, it's still in very nice condition all around. You have the box with matching serial number and the spare magazine, which would put it in the $1,500, $2,000 range, I guess, these days, which is insane, but I completely get it. And yeah, this is the one that I actually enjoy shooting. It has a bit more wear and such, but it shoots beautifully well, guys. You have no idea. Unless you actually fired one of these guns, you honestly have no idea. You just cannot know. I mean, for years I've known about these guns and always thought kind of awful, nasty looking little pistols, and that cocking lever makes no sense whatsoever once you actually fire it. Now, because I'm an open mind guy, I'm always acceptable of criticism and changing my opinion if I see it makes sense. So I ask myself, why is it that some people think this is, and actually knowledgeable people, experts in their field, think this is probably the best service pistol ever made. Maybe I should get one, give it a try. And that is when your opinion likely changes immediately. You realize very soon, I'm checking just in case, but no problem there. So that's when you realize that this does not bother you at all. Anyone that has shot for any serious amount of time will immediately get a proper grip on this and put more than enough pressure to lower that cocking lever. You just even think about it, and your grip immediately goes super high there on your gun. And once you pull the trigger, it's the most beautiful single action trigger you've probably seen in any service pistol. Maybe like a customized 1911 will have a better trigger. Man, this just rides so high and has such a nice short single trigger pull that you just put one on top of the other. I'm more of a average shooter. I guess I'm above average shooter compared to if you take the entire community of shooting of shooters out there. But competitive, usually middle of the chart there. When I go in competitions, local competitions, if I practice a bit more, train a little bit more, take it a bit more seriously, I'm going to be going a little bit up. And I actually managed to do well in a few of these over the years. But honestly, I just, average shooter compared to most other shooters in competition. So that would be it. And still, in spite of that, and I always use my Glock. Over the years, it's 99% of the time I'm shooting with a Glock, trying to get better with it. Still, when I get this gun, I just get a lot more precision. I just get much closer to where I'm aiming at, and follow-up shots, for whatever reason, seem to just cluster more tightly than with the Glock that I use far more often. So the question is, why are you not using this for practical shooting? Well, these are very expensive guns. The magazine capacity is not lending itself nicely for the kind of competition you have these days, which is usually more friendly towards a 15-round magazine. So you could go with something like this if you have the money for an HK P7M13 and maybe 10 spare mags. So if you have $1,000 laying around for more magazines and you want to trash an $8,000 or $5,000 pistol, be my guest. I'm not going to be doing that. So yeah, that's basically it. I know a guy that actually won European I know a guy that won the European Championship with a P7, so there's that to be said about it. But it's a wonderful gun. Unless you actually shot it, you just have no idea. So this is the one I take every once in a while, enjoy shooting it, love shooting it. Aesthetics for me are not, some people, it's starting to grow in me over the years, but it wouldn't be the first thing that I think of how beautiful this gun is. The practical side is for me. My wife, she's not a shooter or anything like that, but of all the guns that I have that she shot, she likes this one the best by far. She says, that's mine, that's my little black pistol. What's the name of it? Yeah, I explained. It's called an HK P7M13. It's kind of like a big deal in the gun world. And she looks at me like, you're so naive. But I guess women have their different tastes and such. But she definitely loves this one in terms of how well it shoots. Not being a gun person, this is by far the one she shoots more comfortably and more accurately with. And it's also interesting to notice people that are not gun people, when they pick up different things and they end up liking something a lot, that says a lot about how well engineered and designed that pistol was, and this is the case. You just don't bother with that. Single action is just fantastic and super reliable pistol. Why are these not made anymore? Gotta ask HK that. Probably they're gonna be I think they're gonna be making them again eventually, because they kind of fool around with this in Instagram. Back in the day, it was already the most expensive service pistol in the planet. You have a forged steel, and it has a lot of intricate work done around, and that makes the cost quite high. But these days, people will pay for it. They will pay $1,000 for it. Sure, it goes more to the collector's field. Even if you have a new run, a new production of HKs, this is still the collector piece. That's the way of, if you copy the Mona Lisa, you're not going to be selling a good photograph of it at the same price as the original thing. So this goes into that collector's market. Same thing with like an old Python pistol, an old Python revolver. You have the new one, but collectors will want that original piece. That's part of being a collector's piece, and not a modern reproduction or modern production run. This is still this gun as it is today, you're still looking, there's a new pistol, Alien or Mars or Martian or something like that. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. Eastern country, gun manufacturer making one of the more advanced modern pistols. It is basically the same gas chambered system that you have here in the P7, this system by which you have this little piston here. This piston goes inside there. That's why this needs to be all steel. It goes in there, and it keeps, unless the pressure drops there, and look how fast it is to disassemble the thing. You just press it here and just pull it apart. It's just a beautiful piece of German engineering at its best. Yeah, man, I love it. Even today, if you're, concealed carry gun with a proper holster, this is going to be, of course, heavier than a polymer gun, but the accuracy you're going to be getting out of it and how you go right there into it just feels fantastic. No, you cannot understand this until you actually shoot it. Anyway, I'm not going to be selling this one because I love it, because it's my wife's favorite gun by all means, and I'm not going to be selling my collector's P7M13 either. So this is a gun that's going to be, doing its job as a, as a 9mm semi-automatic that's wonderfully accurate and super reliable. Guys, it's going to be all for now. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to the channel. If you get the chance to get one of these, I'm not working for HK or anything like that. I'm not making a single buck out of it, but I'm glad I got mine when I had the chance. So I would honestly, if you're thinking about getting it, and you find a good deal, all things considered, good idea. See you in the next video, folks. Have an awesome day. Take care.